Hey guys, Jennifer here. How's it going? I wanted to talk today about something that's been on my mind. And the last few days for me have been a little bit tough, to be honest with you. I've had a hard time. Came home from work crying, which I'm sure a lot of you can relate to. And was feeling pretty down in the dumps. And I started feeling like, oh, I feel miserable, I feel sad, and experiencing all these emotions. And then I started thinking, well, wait, I'm not happy. How could I talk to people? How could I have a whole Facebook page about being happy? Look at me, I'm crying, I'm miserable. I don't ever want to go back to work again. No, not really, but in the moment. And I started to kind of go down a road of, well, if you're not happy, who are you to talk about happiness? And why do you have a Facebook page about happiness when look at you, And as I was thinking about that, this little voice in my head was almost arguing with myself. And I was like, no, you are a happy person. And I realized that, as I've talked about, if you've listened to my other videos, and I'll just reiterate that a little bit, like happiness is, it all comes down to, as my little sign says, I love that. I got it at for $5 somewhere a few years ago. But like when they say choose happy, like, oh yeah, I'm miserable, I'm just going to choose to be happy. Like, what does that actually mean? And what that means is like, you're not choosing happy that like in a minute you snap your fingers and you're just like, everything's happy. I mean, that's fake. People who are just happy all the time. I mean, some people, God bless them, are truly like that. But a lot of people, it's a put on. It's really hard to just be happy all the time. And when you're not happy, when you're really miserable, it's hard to just choose it. So I've often asked myself, like, what does that mean to choose happy? And I think what it means is you're choosing it as a way of life. You're choosing it as a way that you define yourself, how you see yourself, a context in which you view your experience of life. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have times when you're not happy. I mean, you might have times when you're miserable, and it might be extensive periods of time. But you still see yourself, that you choose happiness as a way that you live. But then what happens is that when you're not happy, you're crying and you're feeling miserable, you know that who you truly are is happy. So that becomes the intention that you set to go back to. So your unhappy times last a lot less time. So, here I was upset. I won't go into all the why. It doesn't really matter. And feeling pretty down in the dumps. And sometimes I think some of us have this bad habit of allowing other people to make us feel bad about ourselves. And I say make us, obviously nobody makes us feel anything. We choose how we're going to feel, but I have myself sometimes feel bad. And so I'm going down this whole spiral. But this little voice in my head was like, no, you are happy. And so in that moment, I started looking at, well, what does that mean? And I found myself literally grappling at everything I could, all my training, all my everything I have, all my tools to try to get myself back towards happy. And obviously in the moment, they weren't working. I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning. And then at some point I said, Jen, it's okay. It's okay to just not be happy right now. Cry, be angry, be hurt. And that's all part of living, but that doesn't change who you are, and that doesn't change the context in which you live, that you are a happy person. And so you strive back towards that. I hope that this is making some sense for you. So if you're in a situation where maybe you're not happy, but you choose, like I am choosing happy as the context that I'm going to live in, then you start to work towards that. And it becomes your, what we call the happiness set point. We all have a default happiness level. Like some people just come out happy, and they're happy from their happy toddlers, and they're just happy. I mean, they get upset about things, but things roll off of them, and they just you're like, gosh, why is she always so positive and happy? And then you have those people that try and they're just not. And what they find in research is that we all will default back to what our set point is. So if you tend to be a pretty happy person and you're down in the dumps, you'll over time go back to that. And if you're a pretty unhappy person and something happens that's just amazing, you're elated, but eventually you're just going to probably go back to your normal level. And it's why people who win the lottery, actually oftentimes that happiness, a lot of times these people go bankrupt. You should read the statistics on that. It's quite interesting. So, but the good news is that if you're not a happy person in general, you're not doomed. You can actually raise that happiness set point. And I think that last night when I was thinking about all of this, what I realized is that I not only have a happiness set point, but over the course of my life and my studying a lot about people and myself and working through a lot of stuff, I've been working to raise that set point, because your set point can be raised. There are a lot of different tools and techniques. I won't go into all of it now, but that's the good news, is that if you choose happy, just for literally, it's just a choice. Like, I choose to have ice cream, I choose to go for a walk, I choose to be happy. It doesn't mean that in an instant you just feel happy all the time, because that would be fake. But what it means, you're choosing it as a way of life, as a context to live in, and an intention that your energy is headed that way. So, last night I started meditating. I had a hard time meditating because I was just all over the place with my brain. I was doing something called Ho'oponopono, which is an old Hawaiian tradition, which is a way of sending positive energy and towards, you could just send it towards yourself, or you could send it towards people. If you have people in your life that you're struggling with, you can actually do this to them. It's, you just don't say anything to them. It's just with you. And you just say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you just repeat that. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you close your eyes. You say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you just focus on that person, and you just say it 6 to 7 times. And it's amazing, literally, what can come out of this. Hi, Melvin. So I just wanted to share that, because I think it's really important to not allow a time when you're not feeling good to shift how you see yourself, or shift any kind of hope or aspiration or intention for happiness, because it doesn't have to. It's normal to go through emotions. It's normal to be down in the dumps. It's normal to start to have all these stories in your head and feel talking bad about yourself, but it doesn't need to last. And you can say, okay, this is not who I am. So what do I need to shift? What do I need to focus on? Who do I need to talk to? What can I reach out? What process can I do? What do I need to give up? Because oftentimes we're holding on to some story or negative thought or limiting belief or anger, resentment, the list goes on of things that we can just be like, okay, maybe I just don't need to resent this person this much. So I just wanted to share that with everybody, because that was something that was fresh for me. And I think that's important, because when people oftentimes look at things like find your happy, they think, yeah, right, for those other people. And the reason I called it Find Your Happy, like I said in the introduction video, and not Get Happy, is because we all actually have it within us. You just need to choose it. And then once it's chosen, we can start finding it and start working towards it. So I hope everybody has a great evening. And I'm feeling much happier now. So that's all. Talk to you later.